They knew, see? And Peter, there's an author out there, the book, Nostradamus, Bibliomancer, The Man, the Myth, the Truth. There's a book out there to look this up. So, he was a former Cambridge linguist and author of a dozen books on the French seer. He believes that with Nostradamus believed that history repeats itself and projected known past events into the future. Quite possible. But again, like I said, a lot of scholars believe he's right. So you could go either way on this. It just depends what you believe. I mean, you could read a lot into anything as far as that goes, right? Which obviously we know. Or you could be a prophet and not even know it. So there you go. So do you think Nostradamus was real, or was he a fake? Or somewhere in between? I don't know. I think he's somewhere in between. I think he might have got a few things right. I don't know. He might have. But I think most of it, yeah, it's open to interpretation and what you perceive. Exactly what Michelle said. So there you go. Nostradamus couched his quatrains in such vague forms and terms that people, you can read what you want into them. He made postdictions, statements that appear to come true. They call it that. Postdictions. So, it's possible. If this is, okay, just say for a minute, okay, Michelle. Hope you do. Let's, for the sake of argument, say he predicted the 9/11 attacks. Just for the sake of argument, okay? That he did predict the 9/11 attacks. Do you really think anybody really paid attention to it? Let's just for the sake of argument say that it was true. Obviously, yeah, scholars may believe it, but the people who count didn't believe it. I mean, could some of this have been avoided? Or, just for the sake of argument, say he was right. Obviously, he's not heated, though. So, if it was true, why would they not do something about these things? Or is it, they think it's just gibberish too? Say for the sake of argument, he is right. There we go. Government screwed up again, right? Obviously, they're not paying attention to these predictions, as they so-called, just for the sake of argument. I mean, what if they were our predictions? Why wouldn't the government take heed then? So, cover up, maybe. Again. But they believe some of his things, like that one quatrain I wrote. I read that it means extraterrestrial, aliens. But couldn't that be possible? That he is writing about extraterrestrial landings and stuff. I just saw a show on UFOs. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that's what he's writing about. Maybe it's about aliens and ET visits and all that. I mean, it's real possible. So, I just saw a show on UFOs. In fact, I'm recording several of them so we can talk about it. About the Great Pyramids of Egypt and stuff and UFOs. So, Interesting, interesting. So, but accurate or not, for a man who hasn't written anything in over 400 years, his works and biographies show no signs of slowing down. So, for one thing, Nostradamus, I keep forgetting to put that S in there. But say for the sake of argument, none of it's right. I mean, if it was right, who knows, Yeah, right. Aha, that's where the government came up with that. Gotcha. Nostradamus predicted Donald Trump 400 years ago. Let's see. These passages from Nostradamus are proof that he predicted the Trump victory. Apparently. I love the word apparently. Anyway, he wrote the predictions about the coming centuries. He wrote these as quatrains, of course. It says, for those not able to read tongues or French and that, here's a translation. The great, shameless, audacious baller. He will be elected governor of the army. The boldness of his contention. The bridge broken, the city faint from fear. Oh, that sounds about right, don't it, about Trump? In addition to being president, he's also the commander-in-chief. So what do you think of that? The great, shameless, audacious baller. If that doesn't describe him to a T, I don't know what does. He will be elected governor of the army. The boldness of his contention. The bridge broken, the city faint from fear. Do you think that about covers Trump pretty well? Sounds about right, though, don't it? There are other predictions from Nostradamus that have also been related to the presidential election. The masculine woman will exert herself to the north. I don't know who dressed her, but wow, yeah. She will annoy nearly all of Europe and the rest of the world. 2 failures will put her in such an imbalance that both life and death will strengthen Eastern Europe. Do you think that sounds like Hillary? To me, that sounds like her to a T. Not to be rude, and they believe that stronger Eastern Europe is Russia. And what's up with that? That nuclear testing, the nuclear rocket they had. I guess Putin's tired of nobody listening to him, and he's going to make sure Russia's put on the map, apparently. Quatrain 20 from the same century speaks about a rigged election. And it goes as follows. The false message about the rigged election to run through the city, stopping the broken pact. Voices bought, chapel stained with blood. The empire contracted to another one. It could be a reference. Yeah, they used peyote, and there was something else they used. Peyote was a big one. In fact, it was just Josh Gates just did that. They were high for about 4 hours from it. Oh, I'm sorry. Ghost Adventures, Zach Baggins. He's nuts anyway. Anyway, perhaps that meant an alignment between Trump and Vladimir Putin, or maybe the ongoing investigation of Russia collusion. I love that one about Hillary. That to me was Hillary to the max. The masculine woman will exert herself to the north. She will annoy nearly all of Europe and the rest of the world, which she did being Secretary of State, if you remember. And 2 failures will put her in such an imbalance. Those secret emails and all kinds of stuff going on, and her indifference to the men that were killed. So, you don't know. You just never know. So, it is possible. it's real possible. I mean, it could be. Don't know for sure. You know, he could. I think, he may have had several that probably came true, but I don't know if, not all of them. Talking about weather balloons, you're insane. Um, yeah, peyote was the Indian thing. I know that. Okay. um, they also call Nostradamus the man who saw it tomorrow. That is a documentary style movie about Nostradamus, the man who saw it tomorrow. So check that out. I believe I saw it. I'm not sure, but I'm going to see if I can find it again and watch it. Um, the last quarter of the film discusses his supposed prediction for the future of the 80s, 90s, and beyond. So we're just going to have to wait and see, I think, on some of it. Alleged predictions in the movie was the accidental death of King Henry II, the rise and fall of Napoleon, American Revolution, the rise and fall, of course, of Hitler, World War II, the Holocaust. The 80s could be the time for Ted Kennedy, but after the Chappaquiddick incident, crazy man. Um, and I think, he's just a wimp anyway. Inventions and technological advances. A major earthquake striking LA. King of Terror wearing a blue turban. Would rise to power from Greater Arabia during the late 90s. Would wage war around the world and spread the influence of the Islamic fundamentalism. Nostradamus claims that the King of Terror would form an alliance with Russia. According to Nostradamus, the King of Terror and Russia would wage World War III against the Western world, starting with a new strike on New York City. And of course, they believe that to be the 9/11 attacks. Nostradamus claims that World War III would last about 27 years, and the war would destroy cities and kill millions. And the King of Terror would eventually be defeated himself. So those are some of the things. I'm trying to see if I wrote any of his... Let's see. Yeah, Sheldon's sleeping. He's always sleeping next to me. So I think we covered Nostradamus pretty well. Let me see if I can start running any of his predictions down. Do you guys believe he was real or fake?